Greetings, mighty companions. Greetings. Anna Kujawa here, and we are doing a Course in Miracles like we always do on Monday evenings. But first, I always start my sessions with an opening meditation. So that's what we're going to do for a few moments to allow our minds to come back home to the present moment and rest in the present moment so that we can open our minds and our hearts to the spirit of truth and healing that is available for us. And so that's what we're going to do for a few minutes. So go ahead and close your eyes and take a breath. Awesome. Beautiful. All right. The goal here is to invite our minds to come back home to the present moment where we are. So what we want to do is we want to let go of our day. We want to let go of everything that has happened up till now. Let it go. This moment now contains everything you could possibly ever need for peace, for healing, for inspiration, for joy, for healing, for release, for direction. It's all here right now within you, just waiting for you to open your mind and to open your heart and to say, okay, yes, love. What is your will for me, love? What is the way you would have me go, love? What is it you know I need for healing, love? And so we practice bringing our minds back to the present moment. And we practice allowing our minds to rest from defending, to rest from planning, to rest from thinking we have to know anything. We allow our minds to rest and to open to the knowledge and the information and the love and the power that is always here right now. And so we breathe it in. Breathe in the love that surrounds you. Breathe in the knowledge and the wisdom that also surrounds you and is available for you, just waiting for you to rest. It's all waiting for you to just acknowledge, I don't know anything. Something in me does. And just breathe it in. And for just a moment, see if you can feel that presence that dwells in you, that knows you intimately, deeply, and has nothing but unconditional, eternal love for you. Just see if you can feel that spirit within yourself, that wise, loving, unconditionally supportive spirit that lives inside of you. I want you to feel even if you're not sure it's really there, speak to it. Ask it something. Open your heart to it just a little bit. And say to it, if you are there and if you are real, show me. Show me yourself. Help me to feel you. Help me to hear you. What is it that you would have me hear and see right now? Spirit of truth within me. And then breathe, listen, and open. Spirit of truth within me, Spirit of healing within me, I need you to guide me. I need your healing. I ask you to show me the way. Show me where I belong. Show me what I am here for. I have lost my way. I have forgotten who I am and why I'm here. Show me. And breathe. Just notice what it feels like to feel something within you that loves you and knows the way for you to walk, for you to find happiness and fulfillment here. What does it feel like to be indwelt by your best friend? Your loving Creator. What does it feel like to feel like you're not alone? Feel that feeling and let yourself be healed and inspired by it. Just take another breath. Whew. And bring your awareness back to the room, back to your body, sitting in this chair. Awesome. Yawn and stretch. Beautiful. Okay, and then when you're ready, open your eyes. And just remember, you can return to that space anytime, anywhere, for free. Don't forget that. Kind of forget that oasis of healing within, that oasis, that holy relationship is always there waiting, just waiting. Unconditional, infinite patience. Just wait for free. Infinite patience for free. Oh my God, imagine that. So it's this relationship that is within us, that is eternal, that is our source of healing. There is a relationship. The Course in Miracles says you've already made holy relationships. You are already in a holy relationship. You just don't know it. You just don't, because you're always seeking out there. always seeking out there. But the Course in Miracles says when you learn how to become quiet and learn how to seek within, then you will find that you've been in this holy, powerful, amazing, unconditionally loving, powerful, brilliant relationship all along. Right? And that is, that says, the Course in Miracles says that awakening is this grand surprise. I had it within me all along. So it's like those old commercials, the V8. I could have had a V8. It's like, I could have had freedom and peace all the while. Okay. But Course in Miracles is all about forgiveness. This is a curriculum about forgiveness. Because once you realize that only you can deprive yourself, you're going to need some forgiveness of yourself, right? So first, the Course in Miracles tells you the truth. But first it says the purpose of this curriculum is forgiveness. Then it tells you, by the way, only you can deprive yourself of anything. And then reminds you, by the way, remember, the purpose is forgiveness. Okay? So where we're at today is we are in chapter 11, section 4. And I am going to be reading out of the annotated edition, but it's the same chapter in the same section as the blue. This is the blue book. Okay, so whether you're in the blue book or the annotated edition, it's chapter 11, section 4. In the annotated edition, which is the most original edition, the title of this section is called The Blameless Son, which means the blameless child. Okay. In your book, it is, what's the name of it in chapter 11, section 4 in the blue book?
The Inheritance of God's Son.
The Inheritance of God's Son. Now, when A Course in Miracles uses a term like son, it does not mean masculine. Okay? So when it's talking about God the Father, it doesn't mean masculine. It's that God is neither masculine or feminine. And so it uses masculine and feminine terms, and it uses terms that seem like they come from the Judeo-Christian scriptures, only because that is the language that Western culture uses, and so this was meant to be in that language, to be a correction for the language that we as Westerners use. Okay, so remember that when A Course in Miracles means Father, it means God, which is neither masculine or feminine. When A Course in Miracles uses the term Son, that's capitalized, it means God's creation, God's children. It says God has one child, one creation, and we're it. Okay, so when it's talking about God's blameless Son, it's talking about God's blameless creation, God's blameless children. So God, who created us blameless. And that's what this section is going to talk about. Okay, and it's also going to talk about our relationship with each other. Okay, so now, when you were a child, was that the only descriptor that your parents used of you? Anyone? Did we go, oh, my beautiful, blameless child? Anyone?
No.
Anyone? Okay, anyone doing it now? I wish. I'm sure my kid wishes. So that's how God created us to be, and that's how God sees us. Okay? All right. So here's what it says. It says, never forget that the sonship is your salvation, because the sonship is your soul. Okay, now what does it say? Does y'all's first line say something about soul?
So.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm using the more original version of A Course in Miracles. Yours is more edited. So just know that. So first thing it's going to tell you is very importantly is your salvation is meaning your freedom from whatever hurts you, your freedom from whatever seems to limit you, your freedom from whatever seems to make you sick or poor or angry or alone is what? It's the sonship. What's the sonship? The family of God. Okay? In other words, your freedom, your happiness, your everything you want comes from what? Your relationship with the family. Your relationship with all the rest of God's creations. All the rest of God's children. Okay? Now, that's very different from what we ever hear about our freedom, our happiness, our healing. We are in the habit of thinking that our happiness and our freedom and our abundance and our joy comes from me, what I do, what I get, what I have, what I heal, what I change, whom I know, what I know. Like me. Like it's me. Like I get it for myself, I take it from you, I get it for myself, and then we're in a relationship. It seems to like I'm getting it from you for myself, and then in our relationship we're going to fight for it. And whoever's right is the one who gets to have the happiness, okay? So in other words, what we've learned about happiness is that it is of me, for me. That's how it comes. I get it for myself, I take it from yourself, and then we're going to argue, and then we're going to fight for each other for it, okay? That, and whoever's right, they're the ones who are happy. Now, this is saying that our happiness and our freedom is something that comes as we realize that our relationships are with everyone and everything. My relationships are with you. We're related. I'm related with the universe, the stars, that I am in relationship with the whole of creation. In other words, I am not of myself. I am not a separate entity who can get happiness for myself and take it from you and hold on to it for myself. Make sure you don't take it from me. He says, your happiness, your freedom, your salvation, your all of what you want, your happiness is in your realization that you are in a relationship with all of creation. And the way that that takes form is that every person that I am encounter with or think of, every tree, every plant, the stars, the sky, the sun, all the creatures, I'm in they're part of me and I'm part of them. We're family. And as I have that realization that I am a part of the whole, all of creation, then I find fulfillment. It's exactly the opposite of what we all learned about how to be happy and how to be abundant, right? It's exact opposite, correct?
Yes.
Okay, who among us heard, my dear, your total fulfillment comes as you recognize that everything you experience, everyone you meet is part of you and you're part of them. It's awesome, right? We did not, especially Americans, we pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. We don't need to help other people. That's so un-American. We have rugged individualism, right? It's a sign of weakness to help somebody else up, right?
Make it a high school curriculum requirement.
What's that, to
tell everybody.
Oh, yes.
And just one of the curriculums.
Yes, that's right.
Of all the curriculums, just slide that one in there. That they just need to be aware that they just need to be covered with
Exactly.
all of the source that they can.
Exactly.
And they get an A.
That's right, exactly. Yes, Oneness 101. Oneness 101. And so this is basically saying that that when we are suffering, that if you are to look for or to remember or learn how to tune into the fact of unity, which is basically unity consciousness, awareness of connection. Awareness of connection. That is the awareness through which true knowledge comes to your awareness. And we've heard for a long time, know the truth and the truth will set you free. Knowledge frees people from suffering. Knowledge is the end of suffering. We think, if I just had enough money, I wouldn't suffer. Oh, if I just had enough prestige and influence, I wouldn't suffer. If I just had enough beauty, I wouldn't suffer. If I just had enough friends, I wouldn't suffer. If I just had the right relationship, I wouldn't suffer. If I just had the right job, I wouldn't suffer. The Course in Miracles is saying that knowledge is the end of suffering. What do you mean knowledge? I mean knowledge of the truth. What's the truth? The truth is that we are all one. We are all connected. The family of God, the creation of God. That is knowledge. Why? Because that is truth. And the Course in Miracles says we're suffering not for the reason we think. We're suffering because we don't think that we're connected. We think we're separate. Because I think I'm separate, I think I'm just this body. Oh, and guess what happens when I think I'm just this body? I'm going to be afraid all the time. And then if I have a kid, then I'm going to be doubly afraid all the time. Right? And so the Course in Miracles is saying, all right, we have one problem. We all have one problem here on earth. Okay? Now, that's a little different, right? Course in Miracles says, if you think, he says the world seems to have an infinite variety of seeming separate haunts or problems. And the Course in Miracles says that if you look at the world and its seemingly infinite variety of problems, that even if you solve that one, you got 50 million other ones that pop up automatically. The Course in Miracles says that the truth is that we only have one problem, and it's the separation. Meaning it's the belief that we're not connected to each other, not connected to the earth, and not connected to our one source. That's our one problem. Now it takes an infinite variety of forms. Okay? So if the one problem is that we think we're disconnected, and you can see how the belief in disconnection or separation leads to all of our ills: war, disease, suffering, abandonment, you name it. Poverty, all of it. It all comes down to the belief that we're separate and disconnected. Because only in that way would we ever come up with greed. I got to keep mine, and I got to take it from you, and so that's our one problem, according to A Course in Miracles. And so if the one problem is that we think we're disconnected and separate from each other, then the one answer of that we are one, connected, then that's the answer to everything. So I think, I don't have enough money in my bank account. That's my problem. Course in Miracles is saying, well, if you'll treat it with the one answer, I'm not separate from everyone. These are all my brothers and sisters, everyone, and I'm not separate from the source. That is the knowledge that removes the blocks, that enables you to see that you have everything you need. And it enables the blocks to be removed from your awareness, where you go, oh, here's some over here for me. Oh, here's some over here for me. Okay? So that is why it says, never forget that the family of God, or creation, is your salvation. Now does that make more sense? First you're like, the sonship is my salvation. What are you talking about? It means when you recognize your connection to creation, you'll know that whatever you need is there. Whomever you need, they're there. Whatever you need is there. Just like if you have a happy, healthy family, if one member of that family doesn't have enough to eat, guess what happens? Does that one family member need to go, oh, I'm going to die of starvation, me and my kids? No. If that person is part of a happy, healthy family, the rest of the family go, listen, what we have is yours. You and your kids. You and your 7 children. Oh my God. So that is why, so what do we want to do? I don't have enough money in my bank account, or I got some pain in my body. First thing I want to do is remember that I'm not separate. I'm not separate from the source of all abundance, and I'm not separate from all of the rest of creation, which means somewhere near me, connected to me, is what I think I lack. Meaning, if you are connected to all of creation, then how could deprivation be real? If you are connected to all of creation, how could you have a lack? How could you have a lack? You're connected to all of creation, the source of creation. How could your lack, I don't have enough, be real? And of course, the miracle says it can't. That's why your connection to the family of God is your freedom. All right, so I think we worked that first sentence. When you say that was one sentence. Don't want to rush through anything here. And it says, because the family of God is your soul. Wow. I thought my soul was mine. My soul. My soul. Mine. He said, no, you don't have a separate soul. You don't have an individual soul, according to this. Soul is one. Soul is shared. Wow. Questions? Okay. Any questions or comments? Come on.
My kitty passed on Saturday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so I'm grieving.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that.
The truth.
Yes. I understand.
It was really unexpected.
I hear you. Yes. I totally know what that feels like. Yeah.
Why am I grieving?
Yeah, well, you're grieving because we're learning that we are all connected. We're learning that we all share a soul, and that soul is eternal. You know, we haven't accepted it yet. You know what I mean? We're learning that. You're learning that. I'm learning that. That's why I teach A Course in Miracles, so I can learn that I share a soul with my pet and my child and my beloved, and, you know, I'm teaching it so I can learn it. So you're practicing. So there's no reason why you should expect that you should have accepted these ideas perfectly. You know, you're learning that the soul is shared, including with your pets. You know, and that because your soul is shared, that relationship is eternal. And that's why this knowledge is your salvation. Because knowledge of that we share an eternal soul, that's what lets us know and lets us experience the fact that there is no death and there is no loss or separation. So that's what we're learning. And the more we practice it, the better we feel. And so the grief gets replaced with knowledge and happiness. So thank you for sharing that and letting us have a real life example to practice with. Thank you for being real. Thank you for trusting us with that. Thank you. Yes.
What happened with somebody very close to you killed himself?
Yes. Well, I've had lots of folks that were close to me who seem to kill their body. Yes. And the same truth here. You share a soul with them. I share a soul with them. Soul is shared. And because soul is shared, soul is eternal. You know, our life is eternal. That's what A Course in Miracles teaches us. And so, knowledge that we share a soul is also the knowledge that that one soul is eternal. That soul was created by God. God is not the author of death. God is eternal love. That means the one soul we share is eternal also. Now, the body's not eternal, but we're not this body. We are the soul. We are a soul inhabiting the body. We're a soul inhabiting the body like I'm inhabiting my clothes. And just because I go and I take off my clothes at the end of the day doesn't mean that I am gone. Doesn't mean I am gone. It just means I took these clothes off. They were old and dirty, and I took them off. And that's what A Course in Miracles teaches us. We are a soul, not a body. And the more that we accept and practice that knowledge, that truth, then the more our sadness about what happens to the body is healed. It gets replaced with happiness. Does that make sense? Yes. Thank you also for asking a real question. Yeah. Beautiful. Anything else? And so you can see how it says that the family of God, knowing that you're connected with creation, is salvation, which means freedom from suffering, freedom from pain, freedom from grief, right? Salvation is, in this case, freedom from grief. You know, when you know you're connected to all life, and that life, since it comes from God, does not die, what happens to your grief? Well, it gets replaced by joy. Joy in the fact that the soul is eternal, and we always remain in relationship. You remain in relationship with your cat, just as real as when your cat was in its body. You remain in relationship with that person who took their body out, who killed their body. You remain in relationship with that person just as much as when their body was here. That's knowledge. That's the truth. That's not just positive thinking. That's the truth, right? And so that's why knowledge ends suffering. Okay? All right. Beautiful, yes.
A very famous scripture in church, at least when I was going to church, was a prophet Hosea prophesying to Israel the word of God. And this is God, speaking to a nation. And this is quoted all the time in church. My people are destroyed. In another version it says, my people perish. Why? For lack of knowledge.
Yes, right. Exactly.
Lack of what?
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yes, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
And
Yes.
in church, of course, that's taught, at least ones that I went to, the knowledge, meaning how to get a better job,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yes.
Material instead of
Yes.
spiritual knowledge.
Exactly. Or as our biblical scriptures teach it, knowledge of good and evil. Now, Course in Miracles says that's not what knowledge is. Course in Miracles says knowledge is the fact of unity, the fact of a shared soul. That's what knowledge is, according to A Course in Miracles. Yeah. Now, knowledge of good and evil, how's that going to help you? All that's going to do is keep guilt going and keep separation going. You see, good and evil, that's separation. That's opposites. Good and evil, that's opposites. Course in Miracles is like, no, that's the problem. The truth is there are no opposites in reality. There's only one soul, one love, one life, one creation, one relationship, and that the world teaches duality, which is basically the same as saying separation. And that's what we're suffering from. When we know that we are one soul, then we will know there is no death. We will know there is no loss.
God's not in competition.
Exactly. God is not in competition. Exactly.
To love.
Yes. Yes, my dear.
Since I've been really going back and reworking the workbook and reading, been doing this class for a year now, I've found that as I'm tuning into this truth, I feel like I'm really stuck at being one with the humanness.
Yes, right.
And I'm stuck in
You have problem. You feel stuck
of fear,
being one with all these humans.
an enormous amount of fear,
Yes.
and a lot of anxiety, and really like it is palpable.
Thank you. So you are saying that you are struggling or stuck with experiencing oneness with these humans. I'm sure some humans in particular.
Actually,
Or-
it's maybe some, but I'm not
Okay.
picking out one.
All right.
I'm talking about how unconscious we are globally.
Gotcha.
I'm talking
Yes.
about how many Walking Dead there are,
Indeed.
and
Yes.
how lonely,
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's,
and scary.
yep, and sick, and violent. Yes, there's a reason why the zombie apocalypse shows are so popular these days. It's not an accident. Because when you feel separate, you will feel empty and alone. When you don't feel connected to creation or the source of creation, you'll feel empty on the inside, and you will feel very lonely, which will also is the same thing as saying you will feel guilty, and then you will feel angry, and what'd you say? Isolated. Exactly. Listen, one of the main things in common with all these shooters, all these mass murderers that we've been seeing recently, when they've done a character analysis on these shooters just in the last few months, guess what the main characteristics they found about these personalities? They were lonely. They were lonely. And so when you believe that you are separate, when you feel you are disconnected, which is the same thing as saying you don't belong, you are going to feel empty within. Now, when you feel empty inside, you are going to be ravenous for out there, okay? Definition of a zombie: someone who's dead, but yet ravenous. It's like, I'm dead, but yet I'm still really hungry for some brains. It's a perfect metaphor. Perfect metaphor. So, and then the Course in Miracles says that the only thing that fills emptiness, the emptiness engendered by loneliness, the only thing that fills the void is the awareness of connection. I'm connected. I belong. I'm not just me. I'm connected. I belong. Right? And so the oneness isn't with humans. The oneness is with the soul that inhabits the human bodies. So when we're talking about being one with people, we're not like, I'm going to be one with your personality and your body. No, it's just an awareness of the fact. My soul is connected to your soul. We share a soul. So I don't have to go do anything about it. Oh, I'm not trying to join with somebody else's body or their personality. It's just an awareness. It's just knowledge. We share a soul, and it's an experience like within your biological families, where your family members may be crazy. They probably think you're crazy. I'm pretty sure they do, especially if you're here right now tonight, of course, Miracles group. But because you recognize that you share a common soul, that's a meaning of familyhood, sonship, familyhood. You'll be like, well, they're crazy. Like my younger brother always said to me, you're weird. I mean, I love you. You're my sister, but you're weird. So here he is. He thinks I'm weird. Has no problem telling me to my face regularly. But because he has that sense, because we're family, he has a sense with me that we have a shared soul, as if I'm a part of his soul. And so even though he thinks I'm weird, he still is loving. He still is like, come on, let me take you to dinner, or whatever. So that's what we're talking about here. We're like, we have a shared soul. I don't have to like your personality. I don't have to want to live with you, but we are connected. We have a shared soul. And here's what it means when you recognize that we have a shared soul. And here's why recognizing we have a shared soul saves you and saves the planet. When you recognize the fact, the truth, the knowledge that we have a shared soul, then you know that whatever happens to them happens to you. If those children on the other side of the world don't have food, you don't have food. You recognize that whatever someone in a different neighborhood or around the world, whatever they're experiencing, you're going to experience that right along with them. Nobody suffers in private. And nobody has benefit and healing in private. We don't suffer alone. There is no individual suffering. There's also no individual healing and happiness. And that's what you recognize. Just like in a biological family, if one of my brothers is suffering, even if I don't like them, I'm gonna hurt too. You know. So anyway, so it's that kind of.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
So how do you get? Because that's a pretty painful. That's not really joyous, right there.
Absolutely.
Is suffering
Yes.
with everybody else around you.
Absolutely.
So how do you move from that?
Yes.
To the joyous part of
Right.
the notice of us all being one.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking.
Recognizing,
How do you
also
get
letting that knowledge of a shared soul extend to our source soul. So the truth is that if we share a soul and what you experience, I experience, vice versa, but if we share a soul with source soul, then that means that whatever source soul has, we have. If we share a soul with the Creator, then whatever the Creator has, we have. So not only does unity consciousness or the fact of unity mean that we have a shared experience, but it also means there is no separation between us and Source. So if Source has all love, all power, all abundance, all joy, eternal life, all power, then so do we. And the only reason we do not use it is because we don't know it. You know, in other words, I don't use the power of my mind because I don't realize I have it. But when I realize, okay, no separation means I'm not separate from Source. That means all its power, all its love, all its knowledge I have. Well, then that means I have a lot more power and resources and knowledge and wisdom to draw from that I could use any moment to solve this problem or that problem or this world problem or world hunger or war. Okay? Well, if I have what Source has, because we're not separate, then I have that knowledge, I have that wisdom, I have that love, I have that power also that I could be utilizing. And the only reason I'm not utilizing it now is because I forgot that. I have forgotten that and think that the only power I have is what I can do with this brain, this body, which ain't much.
Could
Yes.
you apply the notion of calls for love, maybe
Mhm.
to help see? That's what helps me
Mm-hmm. That's what helps you.
get past the feeling of
Yes.
separation.
Mhm.
Of when I can go, okay, that's a call for love.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing these. I mean, I don't know if I'm on the right track.
Yeah,
but
you're saying what you're.
recognizing those
yes.
things that you're referring
Yes.
to as a call for love, and then there's a softening within me.
Nice. Beautiful. So when you recognize that when you see other parts of yourself suffering, that what you're seeing is their call for love, their call for help, that softens your spirit for
Yes,
them.
and then I recognize my own calls for love.
Right. Yes.
Does that make sense at all? That helps me.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for asking that. Thank you also for your authentic question. Todd.
So I think I was on the same track as she was.
Mhm.
As I was listening to this,
Mhm.
you project the Holy Spirit or you project the ego.
Right.
And so right in line with when you're projecting the spirit,
Yes.
you're going to see it as calls for love,
Yes.
as opposed to, or you dissociating what you hate about yourself and projecting the ego out.
Right. Exactly.
Because the danger of the Course in Miracles sometimes too is there's a sense of superiority of, well, at least I'm not like that.
Right. Right. Exactly. And then you turn around and you are exactly that.
You're exactly there, right?
Yes, that's the danger of going, well, at least I'm not that. Because like literally within a few minutes, boom, you know, you're like, oh crap, I am.
I also wanted to share with Allison that I inferred from what you said, the way you said it, that that I took a sense that that you weren't making progress, or that you were stalled, or
Stuck is the word you used.
And I just want to put the idea out there that your learning has brought you to a point, perhaps, where you're just a lot more sensitive to all of that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very
Yes.
overwhelming.
Yes, no
and,
doubt.
And that in itself
Yes.
is just part of this process of trying to remember, unlearn what we've been taught.
Yes.
Just reaching that point of really sensitivity, and sometimes you just want to cry.
Yes. There's later on in this section, in a couple paragraphs, it says, this is why the beginning phases of awakening can be quite painful. You know, as you begin to wake up and see what you think you've been doing, and see what's really been going on, it can be quite painful. And so we're going to talk about that. So the beginning phases of awakening sometimes can be quite painful, okay? Because as you wake up and realize, oh my God, what have I done? You know, then you're tempted to then blame yourself, right? Or feel guilty or whatever. So, you know, so thank you, Matt, for saying that. Awesome. Okay, so great. Here we go. And it says, interesting, it says, as God's creation, this one soul is yours, and belonging to you, it is God's. So we share a soul with each other and God. Now, your soul does not need salvation. Your soul doesn't need saving. Okay, great. But your mind needs to learn what salvation is. So my soul doesn't need saving. It's already connected. It's already one with all love, all life, all power, all inspiration. But my mind needs to learn that. My mind doesn't know that. My mind needs to learn that happiness and fulfillment is oneness. My mind needs to learn that because my mind doesn't know that. So my mind needs to learn that healing and happiness is oneness. Okay? But my soul already knows that because it's one. We have a one soul. Soul we share with our source, and soul we share with each other and all living creation. Okay? All right. So then it says, you're not saved from anything, like we learned about in our Bibles. You're not saved. You need to be saved from this, saved from yourself. You're not saved from anything. You're saved for glory. You know, which means you're saved for the awesomeness, the limitlessness of creation. So you're not saved from anything, but you are being protected. You're being saved for. You're being preserved for the beauty and the power that you already are. That's what A Course in Miracles says. Isn't that beautiful? So you don't need to be worried about being saved from anything anymore. Okay? And that's a very common perception in our religious scriptures, correct? You need to be saved from this, and saved from that, and saved from this. If only you act right and follow all these rules and give a proper tithe, right? Okay. What is it we learn? You know what in our way back religious times where we had to buy indulgences. You know, like in the olden times, we have our modern day version of it. But, you know, where you had to go, like you could buy indulgences where you pay the priest for some money, and then they go, oh, okay, say 50 Hail Marys, and you're absolved, okay? No, that doesn't apply here. Real salvation is realizing that I've been preserved for my reality, for my beauty and my power. And that is just waiting for me. Okay? I don't have to do anything for it. I don't have to do anything for it. All I have to do is have knowledge. And knowledge is always a choice. So, how beautiful is that? In other words, glory, which is beauty and power, is your inheritance, given your soul by its creator that you might extend it. Okay? So, what is glory here? Glory is your beauty and your power, your amazingness, your awesomeness. That's your glory, and it's your inheritance. In other words, it's been given to you. In other words, you don't have to earn it. What the beauty and the power that you have, you don't have to earn it. Don't have to change for it. Don't have to buy it. Don't have to take it. Don't have to wait for it. Okay? All you need to do is do whatever you would do to receive your inheritance. Okay? What do you have to do to receive your inheritance? Nothing. I receive my inheritance because I'm the child of the parent who is leaving me their inheritance. Okay? So for an inheritance, you don't have to prove your worth. You know, thank God.
Because I was struggling with that part about my value, about what I deserve or what I
Yes.
don't deserve.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's, to me, it have been very hard to, like, well, I feel like very sensitive right now, and I want to cry. But I was struggling with that part.
Yes,
I
yeah.
know that I am part of the,
The one.
you know, but it's like I feel like I don't deserve it. And I
Yes.
have to, like, work so hard to get this
Yes.
and make a lot of effort and make a lot of, like, things to get it in order to get what I want or what I
Yes.
need.
Yes. Well, you are in very good company.
We can all relate.
Can anybody not relate to that? Yeah. Everybody else here also has been suffering also from the same belief system that we all grew up in also, whatever our religious backgrounds were. Even if we had no religious backgrounds, it's also the cultural conditioning of planet Earth. And that cultural conditioning and religious conditioning is you got to earn it. You got to earn it. You got to earn your love. You got to earn your worth. You know, you don't just get it from free. That's what we were all taught. And that's the belief system we all were raised in. And so now we're all trying to earn love. And we're trying to earn our value. We're trying to earn our worth. And so what are we doing in our relationships now? Trying to earn it, you know, and how successful have we been? In our relationship, we're busting our butts to try to earn the love, and then does it make us happy? And the person goes, okay, you've earned my love, we'll go on a date now, or whatever. And then are we happy? Does that, you know, so we're all suffering from that belief system. But we're all also being liberated from that belief system, which has held us all down. It has held us all in suffering and deprivation. Right? And now we are experiencing the freedom. The zombies are coming back to life. Those who've been in a coma of ignorance are waking back up, you know, to the realization, oh, that power and glory are in me. They're my inheritance. I don't have to do anything for it. I have it right now. I don't have to wait. I don't have to beg. I don't have to bargain. I don't have to steal, which is a lot of what I've been doing in my relationships. I don't know about y'all. Oh, please love me. I promise I'll change. You know, please love me. I'll give you some of this. I'll give up this for you. I'll give up that for you. I'll give up that. Well, now will you love me? God, people, family? We've been doing a lot of believing that we had to earn it. And it didn't make us happy. It didn't make us feel, oh, now I feel total confidence about my worth. I'm so happy. Oh. You know, no matter how much we tried to earn it, you know, even if people were like, okay, I grant you my love. I grant you this. Okay, you're worthy today. it still did not make us happy because it wasn't real. Okay? So thank you for sharing that. Yes. And welcome back to truth about yourself. Yeah.
That's what Jesus was trying to say through the Bible the whole time. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory.
Yes, exactly. No, so your glory, your beauty, your power, your worth, that's your inheritance. You don't have to beg for it. It's just part of you. You get it because you're the child of God. That's it. And it says, so that's your inheritance, okay? You don't have to earn it. You don't have to beg for it. And you don't have to put it under lock and key either. He says, but, if you hate part of your own soul, part of your own self, then all your understanding is lost. Why? Because you're looking on what God created as yourself without love. So I have all the power and the glory. I have the beauty, the worth, the power, the inspiration, the joy, the happiness, the love, the abundance, the creativity. I have all of that awesomeness. But if I hate part of myself, which means someone else who is a part of me, then I lose all knowledge. I lose all knowledge of what? What's already mine that I don't have to ask for or beg for. It's all mine. But I will not know it if I don't want you to have it. It's like this. You can have all of your inheritance. You can have it all as long as you don't want to deprive anybody else of it. As long as you don't believe anybody else should be deprived of it. But as soon as you go, well, I deserve it all, but not you because I don't like you, or because you didn't act right, or you didn't fulfill my script, or you're not the right color, or you're not the right gender. What'd you say? That one too?
So, what happened when somebody hurt you
Yes.
and you don't wish anything bad for that person? However, you don't want to see it in your life, or
Right.
you don't want to talk to that person in your life.
Yes.
But you are not like, oh, I wish that blah blah blah.
Right.
You know, I always, when somebody hurt me, it's like, I don't want to see you in my life.
Yes, right.
God bless you.
Yes, right.
Be happy.
Absolutely.
And that's it.
Yes.
Is that bad?
No, that's right. It's just like Kwana. So am I pronouncing your name right, Kwana?
Yes.
It's just like she was saying, like what Kwana was saying, is that when you, the Course in Miracles says that the only correct interpretation of somebody else's behavior, it's only one correct interpretation. It's either love or call for love. And so A Course in Miracles says that when somebody is acting in an unloving manner, if they hurt you, then they are calling for love. And when you see that's what's really going on, which is really true, even if you look at it from a psychological perspective, why do people hurt other people? It's because they don't feel love. They don't have love for themselves. They are experiencing a lack of love. If they had only love for themselves and had received only love, they wouldn't be going around hurting people. So A Course in Miracles says that when you say that is a call for love, then that is you acknowledging that they also are entitled to love. Even if they did hurt you, even if they hurt somebody, they're entitled to love, just like us. We've hurt people. And so, so what we're saying here is that even though I don't want to be around you, you're still entitled to love. Just like me. Just like I was entitled to love when I was ignorant and aggressive or hurtful, and am still some days. I am calling for love, and I still deserve love even though I have been hurtful. And I was hurtful not because I'm evil. I was hurtful because I forgot that I am love. Or maybe I didn't receive love. I don't know I'm love. Does that make sense? So, Course in Miracles is not saying stay with someone who's abusive. Yeah, yeah. Course in Miracles is just saying, just remember that they are calling for love and they are entitled to love as a child of God, even if they're mistaken. And you are a child of God and you are entitled to love and your inheritance, even though you have been mistaken. Does that make
Their
sense?
path and the healing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's never saying stay with someone who's hurting you. It just goes, remember the truth about them and you and get the heck away. Okay? And call 911 if you need to. All right. So then it's saying this, that glory is your inheritance given your soul by its creator. Why? That you might extend this love. But if you hate part of your own soul, which is another creation, then all your understanding about your own inheritance is lost because you're looking on what God created as yourself without love. And since what God created is part of God, then you're denying God's place in God's own altar. So when you are making an exception of somebody else, when you're hating, what does it say? When you're hating part of your own soul. When you're hating someone or something as a part of your own soul, then you're denying God's place in God's own altar, which is where? Your mind, your heart, your soul. That's God's altar. Isn't that cool? Wait a minute, God's altar is my mind? God's altar is my soul? Wow. That's pretty cool. You must be awesome. We must be awesome. That means we must be a temple. We must be a temple. What's at the center of a temple? An altar. Where do you meet the spirit that abides in the temple? At the altar. Where do you meet God in another? At God's altar, which is their soul. Where do you meet God within yourself? At God's altar, which is your own soul. Okay? But if you hate part of God and you hate part of yourself, then you will not be aware of that altar. You will have defiled the altar. Now, do you want to go into a temple and defile the altar? The Course in Miracles says that's what we're doing when we hate someone who is part of our own soul. And the opposite of hating someone who's a part of our own soul is to see them as a part of ourself and to see them as calling for love. This is a part of my soul and they are calling for love. They are calling for help. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go in there and correct them. I don't have to go in there and say, get to this Course in Miracles class. You need it. Don't do that, as a matter of fact. Or at least take them to somebody else's class. But you don't have to fix them. All you need to do is have knowledge, which means awareness of truth. This person is a part of my own soul. They are calling for the love that is their inheritance that they don't know about. And that's why they're scared. And that's why they feel alone. And that's why they are violent or hurtful or whatever. All right. Beautiful. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Okay, let's look and see. Bridget says, I need not do anything. Yes, Spirit did it all. Greg says, it is finished. Yes. Beautiful. Okay, I love it. Now, then it says, it's going to say the same thing again because that's what A Course in Miracles does. Over and over. Welcome to A Course in Miracles, the most redundant book on the planet. Okay? It says, can you try to make God homeless and know that you are at home? What do you mean? What do you mean I'm trying to make God homeless? What are you talking about, Course? Every time you hate a part of your soul, you're trying to make God homeless. You're trying to kick God out. Get out. Get out of me, God. Because remember, who is God's temple? Who is God's temple? We are. The altar of God's temple is in our soul. That means we are God's temple. And when we hate someone whom God created, who's a part of us, we're like, get out of here, God. I'll take it from here. This is my house now. I don't need you, God. Right? It says you can't make God homeless and know that you are at home. So, if you want to feel like you are at home, then the way to do that is to recognize that everyone is a part of your soul. is part of your soul, and both of you are part of God's soul, the one soul. Now you will know that you are at home. Now God can be at home within you. And the Course in Miracles says, when you are at home, then you will feel at home wherever you go. Now, the Course in Miracles says, a stranger to themselves can find a home no matter where they look. Okay? So if you right now do not feel at home, I don't know where I belong, I don't feel at home, I don't know where I belong, that's only because you are not at home within yourself. You're a stranger to yourself. A stranger to themselves can find no home wherever they look. And I don't know about you, but I've been somebody who's looked for my home all over the world, and in a bunch of different bodies, and in a bunch of different jobs, and in a bunch of different places. Where's my home? Right? Anybody can relate to that? Okay. I'm guessing there's a lot of seasoned home searchers in this room. Because by the time you get to A Course in Miracles, you probably have tried most everything.
Yeah.
You looked everywhere, A Course in Miracles is for the weary traveler who's like, I've looked everywhere. I've looked everywhere, and I'm broke, and I'm tired, and I'm weary, and I'm frustrated, and I'm depressed. Okay? By the time you get to A Course in Miracles, you've looked everywhere. You've looked around. Me, I started A Course in Miracles when I was 17, but I have spent lifetimes before this one looking.
You've been studying for 5 years.
Oh, you're so sweet. That student gets a gold star. Teacher's pet.
That was called love.
Oh. All right. So it says, in other words, again, it's going to repeat itself. Can you deny your Creator without believing that your Creator has denied you? Okay. So, in other words, so basically it's saying this: when you hate someone who's part of your own soul, you're also hating God. The Course in Miracles is saying when you attack a child of God, guess who else you attack? Right along with them. If someone came and attacked my child, guess how I would feel? Guess how they would know that they had attacked me, right? Course in Miracles says when you attack someone, when you attack a child of God, you also believe that you have attacked the parent. Now, if you believe that you have attacked God, then how safe are you going to feel in your life? How comfortable are you going to feel in your life? The Course in Miracles says if you believe you have attacked the great Creator of the universe, you're actually going to probably have some anxiety. Because you're going to be walking around unconsciously believing in your guilt and unconsciously believing that you deserve to be punished. Wow. So that's why A Course in Miracles says if you want to really experience real safety in a body on earth, a feeling of really, I feel safe and secure, it comes from the complete relinquishment of attack. Because if you attack the child of God, you're going to feel like you've attacked the Creator, and you're not going to walk around feeling real safe. If you think God's pissed at you, how comfortable are you going to feel? You're not. You're like, God is out for me. The Course in Miracles says you will then feel like God, unconsciously of course, you will feel like God is holding your life at the end of a very fragile, thin thread, ready to cut it off at any moment. No notice. Out like your cat. Gone. Bye. See ya. That's how we will feel about God if we're attacking God's kids, which includes yourself, by the way. That includes yourself. If you're attacking God's kid, you, or God's kid, them. Okay? So he's saying that, but God's laws hold only for your protection. And that means God's laws never hold in vain. Which means what? What you experience when you deny your Creator is still for your protection. It's interesting, because the protection of your will cannot be lessened without the intervention of God against it, which means, and any limitation on your power is not the will of God. Okay, what would that mean? That's one of those Course in Miracles sentences where you're like, what? Was that English? Okay, I know that was English, but what? The Course in Miracles says that because you're a child of God, that even God does not intervene in what you want. So if you want to hate a part of you, and if you want to live in fear, and if you want to feel guilty and attract disaster and chaos, if you want disaster and chaos, if you want to suffer, if you want to believe you're separate and then die and suffer because of that, well, even God is not going to be like, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you do that because it's not true, child of mine. God's like, okay. Knowing that no matter what you do while you're insane and ignorant doesn't change anything. Doesn't change all the eternal laws of love. It don't change a thing. The loving, eternal, all-powerful, one reality is still intact. You know, just because you're insane and ignorant, now I deserve to suffer and die. I'm separate. I deserve to suffer and die and take a few people down with me. God's laws are still intact. What's God's law? Still one, still can't die, still only love, and I love you, and that's, sorry. That's God's law. God's law is not, what does it say? Can't be lessened. Okay? So, in other words, you can't break God's laws. Aw, aren't you special? You must be some kind of spiritual badass that you can break God's laws. And what are God's laws? Don't forget. We're all one. You can't die. You all deserve your inheritance, which is glory and power, limitless love. Okay? That's God's law. And you cannot lessen it. Even if you're like, no, I'm going to be a body, and I'm going to be separate, and I'm going to suffer and die. That's going to be real. God isn't like, oh, please don't do that. Oh, God, you're going to break my laws. Don't do that. My laws are very fragile. Don't act crazy. Don't do that. Okay? God is so certain of God's laws that God just goes, okay, sure, all right, knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. But God is so loving that He doesn't abandon you. God says, that's fine. You want to run away from home and play that you are a violent victim, separate, suffer, die. You want to have that fantasy? That's all right. You're still my child. I still love you unconditionally. So what I'm going to do is I will put inside every single one of you what the Course calls the Holy Spirit. And that is a voice that will speak for God's love. So no matter how far away you run from home, no matter how crazy you act, no matter what you believe, you still will always have this voice that always speaks for God. And you know what that voice always says? It's very redundant. It says, come home. That's it. Come home. You didn't do anything. You didn't break the laws of love. You didn't break your Creator. You didn't break anything. What's real can't be broken. Just come home. You didn't do anything. Come home. Are you ready to come home? Come on home. We are the prodigal son in that regard. And that's what the Holy Spirit, that voice that God put inside of us when we decided to run away from home and separate, God put that voice in us so that when we've had enough and when we're weary enough of going round the world looking for our home, that when we get tired enough, then all of a sudden our minds are open, our hearts are open, and we'll hear that voice saying, come home, I love you, all I have is yours.
So, is what you just said about the Holy Spirit being in us, part at least of the answer of an apparent contradiction that I've just heard this evening. It says here that God will basically put no limits on our will.
Our ability to miscreate.
And yet, somewhere else in here, there is something about limit on our
ability to miscreate, yes.
Our ability to
Gotcha.
miscreate.
Yes, right.
And so, I heard that apparent contradiction, but is part of the resolution that, going back to what you said earlier, that I can hate and do bad things, but in reality,
Yes.
I haven't really attacked the reality of God and
Yes,
creation
exactly.
at all.
Yes, and thank you for noticing that. So what the Course in Miracles is saying here is that God will not intervene between your choice and its effects. Okay, so that's what he's saying. And what meaning this, if God is going to teach you the power of your thought, the power of your choice, then if God intervened between your choice for separation and the effects of separation, then how are you going to learn? So God is like a good parent who goes, oh, you wanted to choose separation and hate? Oh, okay. How's that working for you? You know, God does not intervene between your choice or your belief and its negative effects, so that you will learn the power of your own thoughts. You will learn. If God intervened, if every time you made a wrong choice, God came in like an unhealthy parent and cleaned it all up and fixed it for you, then you would never learn. So God's not intervening to lessen your will. You know, God's not coming in to teach you that you need to have God come in and clean up your messes. And God's not doing that because God knows that there's nothing that you can do to change eternal love. You can't break the laws of God. You haven't broken the laws of love. You haven't broken the laws of God, which say, you're my child, all I have is yours, unconditionally, period. Whenever you want it, you can have it. That's the law of God, that you can't really break. Okay, thank you for that. All right, beautiful. Okay, so how we doing? All right, and then says, I'll just finish this paragraph and then we'll stop here. So it says, therefore, look only to the power that God gave you to save you. Look only to the power God gave you to save you, remembering that the power God gave you to heal you is yours. Why? Because it's God's. If it's God's, it's yours. And join with each other in God's peace. Okay? So that's a wonderful last instruction here. So we just heard the problem up until this last sentence, and the last sentence was the answer. And the answer is what? That when you are feeling like you need to be saved from something, whatever it is, financial, physical, emotional, psychological, global, you name it, only look to the power that God gave you to save you. And what is the power that God gave you? It is the power of your soul. It's the power of the shared soul. Look only to knowledge of the one self we share, our shared soul. Look only to that for the answers for the healing, for the comfort. Whatever it is you feel you need saving because of. So what is it you feel you need to be saved from? Okay? You know, from day to day is only going to be one of the many, merry-go-round figures. You know, some days it's going to be financial, then it's going to be lack, then it's going to be pain, then it's going to be loss, then it's going to be grief. You know, it's just a merry-go-round of symptoms. Human symptoms of the one wrong idea.
So to sum it up, are you saying we care too much and don't love enough? Care about all this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We get caught up in caring about a bunch of insufficient things or
insignificant.
Insignificant things.
Yeah.
And yet we don't spend any time loving.
Exactly. Yeah, we're spending too much time trying to save ourselves. Or like the Course says, we're trying to comfort ourselves through inappropriate means. We're trying to comfort ourselves by things that do not comfort us. They make us worse. They make our sickness and our pain and our loneliness and our lack and our grief worse.
Create worry, anxiety, and
yes,
fear
exactly.
Versus just being in a place of love.
Yes. Turning to the only power, turning to the power God gave you to save you. So in other words, turning within to that which God gave you. God gave us all power.
Would that be glory?
Yes. And that's another word for the glory that's within us, our inheritance. Turn to the power God gave us, the power of we're one. We're connected. This person is part of my soul, they're part of my soul, and we are part of God's soul. That is the power that God gave us, the power of the one soul, the one spirit that we share. That's our only power, not what you think you know to do, not all your plans and your analysis and your defenses or your intelligence or your money or your things. That is not a power that's going to save us. You know, that's not going to set us free from the fear and the limitation. He says, so the instruction was, therefore look only to the power God gave you to save you, remembering that this power is yours. Why is this power ours? Because it's God's. Why is this power mine? Because it's God's. Oh, right? Because what's the law of God? The law of God is this. You're my child. Everything I have is yours. Eternally, no condition, and it's all powerful. That's the law. It says, and first it said, turn to the, what does it say? It says, look only to the power God gave you to save you. And then the second instruction was, and join with everybody else in this peace, in God's peace. Okay? So turn only to the power God gave me to save me, and then from that, then I will be able to connect with everybody in God's peace. Which means, what is God's peace? It's a peace that lasts, basically. God's peace is a peace that lasts. My peace is a peace that lasts maybe a few minutes on a Saturday after I'm drunk. That I have to pay for the next day. Okay, so there's my peace, and then there's God's peace. So once I am turning to the power God gave me to save me, then I will be able to relate in peace to everyone. Why? Because I'm not trying to get anything from them, which means I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm not going to have grievances. I'm not going to have hate. The only reason I hate that someone who's a part of me is because I am trying to get something from them. I'm trying to get love, I'm trying to get value, I'm trying to get security, I'm trying to get worth, whatever. That's where hate comes from. I'm trying to get something from them. I'm trying to get comfort. I'm trying to get salvation from them, and it's not there. And then I hate them. It's like, oh, my salvation was not inside of you. Now I hate you. You deserve to die. And even God said that was true. Okay, so that's where hate comes from, by the way. Okay. All right. So now we heard the instruction. All right. So now we're going to do just a couple of remaining last questions and comments, and then we're going to do the love offering, and then we're going to do the integration meditation for a couple of minutes. So while we are doing the love offering, questions, comments. How did it feel to hear these ideas? Irene says, turn only to the power that God gave you. Yes. And Juliet says, peace and light to you. Have a good night. Thank you, Course in Miracles. Thank you, Juliet. Awesome.
Can you explain home? Going home, that's not, I think a lot of us think it means death.
Oh, yes, exactly. Yes. Well, it did say, say what, it gave a roundabout definition of home. So let's see what that was. Okay, so it says, talking about knowing you are home. So home is the awareness that you're home. Okay, and in this context, knowing that you are home means knowing that you are connected and knowing that you are part of the one. Okay? So home in this case is not necessarily a physical residence. Okay? Home is not a physical residence. Home is an awareness that you belong. You belong to them. They all belong to you. And you all belong to God. And God belongs to you. Now you have an awareness that you are home. Okay, so home is an awareness of oneness. And so, yes. Mm-hmm.
So everything you just said, would you say is the definition of accepting the atonement?
Absolutely. And the Course in Miracles says that's your one responsibility here, is to accept the atonement for yourself, and that means to accept the truth. Accepting the atonement for yourself means accepting the truth for yourself. Accepting knowledge for yourself. Okay?
Accepting eternity.
Accepting eternity. Accepting that we are all part of each other.
Community.
Yeah, and we're all part of God's soul. We're all connected. We're all part of the one soul we share. You know, that is true knowledge. That is true knowledge. That is eternal. Okay, and that's what it means when it says, "Know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Knowledge, true knowledge, always comes down to that: we are one. And no matter what higher learning or higher truth that you find and you study all over this planet, ultimately, true knowledge, wherever you find it on earth, is going to come to that oneness. We are one. That's knowledge.
I guess I like what you started out with saying, talking about the awareness of connection.
Yes.
That there's a passage in the Course that says, my passage through time and space is not at random. You cannot but be with the right people at the right time, the right place at the right time.
Yes.
And to take note, and to really be aware of that.
Yes.
And that when you're with other people and you're in other groups and small groups, big groups, and your passage through time and space is not random. We cannot but be in the right place at the right time,
Exactly.
meeting the right people.
Yes.
And for some reason, that's all happening with part of that divine plan.
Exactly. And when you know that, you will feel at home wherever you are. Even if you're among thousands of people. Exactly. Yes. If it's true that everyone is a part of your soul, then wherever you are and whomever you're with, you are with family. You're with a part of yourself. And you're with the children, the kids of God Himself. You're with God's kiddos. However old they are, however young they are, whether they look like a tree or a dog or a person or a plant or a galaxy, you are in the presence of one of the kids of God. And because it's a kid of God and you're a kid of God, y'all are related. You know, and that is the awareness of belonging and connection, which is awareness of home. And when you are home, what is it you don't do? What is it you stop doing when you're home? You stop searching. You stop searching. And you make nice. You make lovely. And when you're home, you invite people in. Come have some tea. Come rest.
When you're home, you're yourself.
And when you're home, you are yourself.
And you can just relax.
And you can
put
just
your feet
relax.
on the couch.
Exactly.
Not worry about anything. Or
Exactly. And the Course in Miracles says, when you finally are at home, now you are able to give your weary brothers rest. Now, the people from all who've been searching all over the world for their home, now they who are weary can come rest their weary head on your shoulder. You know, and what feels better than that? What feels better than that?
And at home is really the heart of God, right?
Being at home is being in the heart of God.
It doesn't have anything to do with
Yes. And the Course in Miracles does specifically say we are the heart of God, by the way. Just like I would say about my child, she is my heart, right? Everybody, anyone who has a child says that they're my heart. You know, they're in my heart. Well, that's exactly how God feels about us. We are God's heart. You know. Now, how would you feel about yourself if you accepted that? Would you have any more low self-esteem if you knew that you were God's heart? Would you be like, oh, I'm suffering from low self-esteem? No, you wouldn't. You'd be walking in glory with your head held high, offering blessing everywhere you went. Blessing, 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 which is miracles. Awesome. So, wonderful. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do our integration meditation, where we, for just 2 minutes, take the ideas and we use them. Oh, yes, thank you. Oh, and all of my classes you can find on YouTube. So go to my YouTube channel, and my name is spelled A-N-N-A, last name K-U-J-A-W-A. You can find my classes, my Course in Miracles readings, Course in Miracles meditations, all kinds of good stuff, forms of Course in Miracles. So go to my YouTube channel, and when you do, hit like and subscribe. Okay? I'm trying to get to doing YouTube live stream, but I need 1,000 subscribers, and I need about 100 or so more. So, but you can find all of my YouTube, all of my classes, and when you hit subscribe, then anytime I post something, you'll get a notification. Awesome. Thank you for that reminder. Okay. Awesome. Also, I'm a holistic psychotherapist, and I am available for one-on-one sessions where we take these ideas and apply them personally to whatever challenges you've got going on. So, all right. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to do the integration meditation. So, go ahead and close your eyes and take a breath. How does these ideas feel in your soul? When you hear these ideas, how do they feel? Take note. Beautiful. Now, so that we can apply these and get the miracles that come from applying the ideas to wherever we're suffering, let's bring to our awareness an area of life in which we've been suffering, this either today or the past few days. Where is it in your life or your world that you've been suffering? Is it your relationships, your body, your finances, your world? Bring that to your awareness. And now I want you to look into, as if you have X-ray vision, I want you to look into the heart of this suffering and see if you can find any feelings of being alone, disconnected, on your own, lonely, abandoned, not belonging. I want you to look for those feelings and those beliefs that you are not connected, that you're alone in your suffering. At the core of suffering is the belief that you're alone, disconnected, on your own. Let's just see if you can find that. And take a breath. Now, this section told us that if we are not aware of our power and glory, meaning our abundance and joy and happiness and power, it has to be because we were wanting to deprive somebody else of love. So I want you to see where it is that you had been blaming another or yourself, judging another or yourself. Who is it in the context of this problem that you were blaming for the deprivation that you were feeling? And maybe it was you. Where is it that you are blaming a part of you? Where is it that you are hating someone who is a part of you, a part of your own soul? And when you find that, say to yourself, this person is a part of my own soul, and we together are a part of God's soul. This is a part of myself. I need them. They need me. And tell yourself the truth. That person is not their behavior. They are not their ego. They are a beloved, beautiful, glorious child of a glorious Creator, just like me. We're connected, we're related, and their behavior is not them. Just like my behavior is not me. Remember that that person's soul is connected to your soul, and that their soul was created by love just like your soul was. You both share the same soul, which is pure love. And God loves them just like God loves you. And now we're going to do a very powerful prayer that A Course in Miracles gives for us to say to other people whom we have been hating or projecting onto. A Course in Miracles says to say this about that person. As you say their name. Person, say their name. I give you back to God, you who are a part of me. You're a part of me, and I give you back to God, who created us both as one in guiltlessness. a part of myself. And I give you back to love. I give you back to God as part of me. Recognize that whatever behavior they may have done that was hurtful, recognize that was just their call for love. That's them not knowing that they are God's and that we share a soul of love. That's just their call for love. They don't know the truth, and neither do I. That's why I need to forgive. And then I want you to thank God for them. Thank you, God, for this brother, this sister. Thank you, God, for them. Thank you for bringing them back around so that I could at last recognize them as a part of myself and give us both back to God. Thank you, God. Thank you for bringing us back together again. I didn't recognize your divine love behind our encounter, but now I do. And thank them for doing their part to meet you here at this appointed time. And take a breath and feel what forgiveness feels like. Feel the feeling of being at home in your skin, in yourself, wherever you're at right now. This is how you feel at home. This is how you come back home to yourself, your true self, your one self. This is how you cease to be a stranger to yourself. Breathe it in. This is fulfillment. This is happiness. And this is your inheritance. You deserve it. Say yes to it. Take a breath, yawn and stretch, come on back. All right, give it up for yourselves. You actually listened to something loving about yourself. It's a miracle. Yay, good job, guys. Appreciate you. May peace expand from my mind to yours.